The dim, dense decor was off-putting. That's alliteration. Can you take 10 seconds to think of a pattern of your own? According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, alliteration is the repetition of the first sound or consonant or initial sounds in two or more neighboring words or syllables. Alliteration helps you draw attention to specific points and will help people picture your message. See what I did there? There are different ways to use this linguistic tool. For example, the use of alliteration can help your audience draw images you're trying to communicate. So, it's also used in poetry. For example, Robert Frost uses this in his poem, Birches. When I see birches bend from left to right, I like to think some boy's been swinging on them. Now, Alan will describe in detail the way that Robert Frost's use of alliteration helps drive his point.
You can use alliteration to draw attention to specific points. I heard those lines and pictured the branches of the birches and the boy swinging. I don't focus as much on this being a perspective of an onlooker or the way he's swinging them. The alliteration caught my attention, and those were the images the author successfully placed in my head. Ethan will now talk about the tongue twisters and the nursery rhymes.
So, as Alan said, there are many other different ways to use alliteration in speech and everyday life. One of them is, popular one is tongue twisters, mainly for young kids or just having fun. There's one right here that I just kind of came up with on the spot. There's also Peter Piper pickled a pepper, that's a popular one. And also rhymes, so it's just in general in music and naming, such as like Wonder Woman, Krispy Kreme, Chuck E. Cheese. These all really help drive something to stay in your head. And brands use these a whole lot because it's easy to remember Coca-Cola instead of Coke, Mike, I don't know. And also music uses it a whole lot. Rhymes, they really help with making earworms, and that's just something that alliteration does, is like sticking in your head, and earworms sticking in your head, mainly because usually they use some sort of alliteration. It's also used a lot in nursery rhymes and just children's youth in general. Like it's very used a lot in speeches and helping children learn things. So, you know, I can't really remember any on the spot, but there we all learned a bunch of little rhymes when we were kids to help us learn something that maybe would be a little more difficult if we used you know, a textbook definition for it. But used with alliteration, it really helps a child's memory remember those things. And now Alan will give us our conclusion.
So in conclusion, alliteration is the repetition of the first sound or consonant of a series of words. You can use it in speeches or writings to successfully drive your point and place a mental image in your audience's mind, be it a group of adults or helping a class of young kids, remembering a certain snippet of knowledge easier.